Oh, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days.
We're going to talk a bit about the Star Wars radio drama.
Oh, yeah.
I was late coming to this thing. I remember we used to get this catalog of all kinds of audio programs, right? And they had an audio version of The Hobbit. I bought. I was real excited because you got to hear like an audio dramatization of The Hobbit. They had both an American version and a British version. I got the American version. Maybe I should have gotten the British version. I don't know, and they had other stuff in there. And one of the things they had on there was Star Wars: The Complete Radio Drama. And I'm like, well, what is this? I didn't know there was a radio show for Star Wars. So I think I got it as a Christmas present one year, and I played it on tape because I didn't get the CDs, and it was pretty neat. They actually got Mark Hamill did play the voice of Luke Skywalker on the series. I believe they got Anthony Daniels to do C-3PO. The other actors were fill-ins, but they were pretty good too.
They were very well done. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. On this show, all the Imperials have American accents and not British accents because it was made for NPR.
American production. Yeah.
It was an American production. It was made for NPR. I learned about it years later that George Lucas actually very generously, for the cost of $1, sold the rights for NPR to do a radio dramatization of Star Wars. Okay. That was kind of nice. Only $1. And he even gave them access to Luke, all the music and the sound effects for the movies as well. Yep. So if you want to do a radio drama, and I guess you hire the actors and pay them what you need to, but you get all this access. You used to pay for the rights for $1. And they made, for the first movie, they did, what was it, like 10 episodes or 13 episodes? It was like
something like that.
Like
it came out to like 5 hours if you put it all together or something.
Yeah, and it's like a very long.
Maybe it's even more than that.
Yeah, and it's like an episodic version of the story of the first movie, and it works really well. You'll have one episode. I think the first episode starts on Tatooine, and Luke's, he's in his he's on the farm, and he's like, I want to go to the Imperial Academy. Okay, well, and he's complaining, and his friend Biggs comes back into town. Hey, I've been at the Imperial Academy, and I'm learning all sorts of things. I want to join you next semester, but then they have to go buy the droids and whatnot, and that's like the whole episode. And they do the thing with I think Baker's Canyon, where like he does the race in Baker's Canyon and beats like the bully guy in town who was taunting him.
What they do is this was, in a lot of ways, you could compare it to the Hobbit trilogy, in quotes. They take one story and blow it up to a much larger thing, right? But they didn't draw from nothing. They drew from the novelization. They drew from original sketches, outlines that George Lucas had done, things that he had planned to do for Star Wars that never quite made it into the original. Some of that stuff is available in extraneous, some of it was filmed, like you said, the Tashi Station scene and stuff with Biggs and whatnot. I actually did listen to it when it originally was done on National Public Radio back in '81. I remember.
Wow.
I don't remember where I read about it. There was an advert for it somewhere. And so I eagerly looked for it and was very excited because I had read the novelization too. I was, voraciously looking for any extraneous, I don't know if you'd say behind the scenes, but like, boy, every time there was a, behind the scenes making of special on TV, I was anything Star Wars related, I was all over it. So when they did when I heard that they were going to do this, I listened to it and was very excited that a lot of the scenes that I had read in the novel that were not originally part of the movie, they went into this I guess you could think of it as an EU, expanded universe, the expanded story of Star Wars, stuff that that lore that was either inferred or not mentioned at all, but in our minds kind of became, part of it. The same enthusiasm that I went after the fan club newsletter Bantha tracks and the interviews and the sketches, the Marquardt, sketches and whatnot, and the files on the diet and the biology of the tauntaun and things like that.
Oh yeah. There are all these nice little details. Like, for instance, when they first go to Mos Eisley, Ben Kenobi and Luke on the show, they talk to somebody else first before they go to Han Solo.
Yep.
And you can tell this guy's an alien. Like, he's saying, "Oh, I heard you best." Yes, but I am already busy with something. But you may want Han Solo over there. And like you get so much more of the world. There was a wonderful line, I think, in that episode where Luke Skywalker's looking at Mos Eisley like, "Oh, I've never been here. I've never been." And like basically Obi-Wan says to him, "You only think Tatooine is the middle of nowhere because you've never been anywhere else. Even on Tatooine, there are important places in the scope of the galaxy." He was trying to make that point. And I just remembered loving it. I mean, I ate it up and I'm hearing this many years later because I wasn't even aware there ever was a radio show until like the 90s when I saw that they were reissuing it on tape.
Yep.
But
and CD. And CD.
I have a question. Did you hear it when it first aired and hear it every episode, or was it like, did you just catch them when you could?
I did. I did hear the original Star Wars when it originally aired every episode. I did not. I missed The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, which they also did.
Yes.
But like you, I did not hear about that until they were releasing them on CD.
Mm-hmm. The Empire Strikes Back one was made, I think, maybe it was 82 or 83 or something like that. It was made before Jedi came out, and they got Mark Hamill back. They didn't get around to doing Return of the Jedi until the special editions came out. So that's a lot of years later. Okay,
Right.
They couldn't get Mark Hamill back. Maybe he was too busy doing voice work on things like Batman the Animated Series. But they got another guy to act as Luke, and he wasn't bad. He was pretty good.
And because all of these three audio dramas are episodic and so long, they're longer than, the 2-hour runtime of the movies. Mm-hmm. In this instance, I did get digital versions of these and then backed them up to, side drives because, honestly, they don't fit on a single CD. And, they're actually even unwieldy just like if I wanted to listen to them in the car or whatever. Yeah. So it was a lot easier to turn them into MP3s and put them on a thumb drive if I wanted to listen to them in the car.
Yeah, I believe now they are out of print, unfortunately. I think because after Disney bought Star Wars, they disappeared. Okay, but check your local library system; they might have copies. Okay, that's all.
Which is why I say get physical media, even if you get the digital versions of it. Back those files up.
I remember though with Empire and Jedi, they're a lot shorter than the first series. Maybe because it was harder to break those stories up into episodic episodes. I mean, of course, they do an episode with Empire where he's on Dagobah. They might do another episode where Han is, they're fleeing in the Millennium Falcon. But I remember though there was a great pivotal scene at the end of the Darth Vader fight in Empire, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. And this wasn't as clear in the movie, but it's very clear in the audio drama. When Luke is deciding to fall, I think he thinks at that moment he's going to die. Yeah. Okay. I think he says, "I would rather die than join the dark side." And that's why he doesn't reach out. I think he wasn't expecting to survive that fall. And that comes off in their radio drama more than it did in the movie. And I think that's very interesting as the character that even self-preservation, I'm not joining the dark side. It's not happening. Yeah. And, he'll
I think has a great payoff in Return of the Jedi when he clearly implies that he has come to the Death Star to face the Emperor and Darth Vader, and he doesn't expect to survive. He doesn't expect any of them to survive because he knows that the Death Star is about to be destroyed.
Yeah, I think he knows that. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's the same thing as killing yourself, but if it means death to do the right thing, he'll do it. Okay. And I think that's what that brings up. Go ahead. I was just going to say, Brian Martin says, speaking of physical media, just picked up the Blu-ray collection of the old Batman 90s animated series. That's an excellent Blu-ray set, too. I got mine when it was on sale for like 40-something. You get digital copies of it, too, with it. That was actually a very good bargain, actually. So, yeah.
And Daniel Heron says the radio drama can be found on YouTube and find eBay outlets near you.
Yeah, I don't
Yes,
even.
you
I
can
don't,
always get the secondary market. Sometimes it's, depending on how easily available it is out there, you can end up with a lot of markup on the secondary
I'm
market.
terrified what they're charging for it now. It was like $80 for all three a couple years ago, but that was when it was still available through.
But when he
source.
says it's available on YouTube, I'm guessing it's probably just people that are hosting it, just like, they host songs and other things. And eventually it's going to get taken down. You'll have to find it somewhere else. But yeah,
Maybe they'll do a NPR version of never mind.
I know
Actually,
exactly. It would be right up their alley, right?
You know,
That's
it would have
such
been
an
neat in
NPR
addition to Star Wars, the Indiana Jones trilogy, do that as a radio series. That might have been
Oh,
neat.
yeah. Oh gosh, would that not? And you do it kind of in the style of those
Of the
old
Star
radio
Wars
dramas.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think
You
it
know?
could work out really well. Or even doing like some of the books that were never made into movies. Actually, I am going to say the BBC typically does a lot more with this stuff than we do.
Yeah, with Big Finish and all of that.
Even Canada does it too. Canada does stuff. We're very bad with radio over here. I don't know what NPR's been doing with radio. I know they got rid of Prairie Home Companion because I guess Garrison Keillor got Me Too'd, even though apparently the guy was touch phobic. So that struck me as odd.
Well,
he would be touching someone on purpose.
It doesn't matter if you actually did the thing or not. As long as you're accused, believe the victim, and boom, you're done.
It's ridiculous. And now there's no more Prairie Home Companion.
There's no more. Well, there's no more due process. So
Yeah. But the point is that it's the old days when NPR actually did something pretty cool, and I recommend you guys checking out the Star Wars radio drama.
Yep.
You just learn so much more about the world, and none of it interferes with what was in the movie. Like you're not saying, "Oh, this detracts." No, it's like you learn more about Leia on Alderaan and how she's doing this stuff undercover as princess and having to hide what she's actually doing from Imperial authorities.
In a way, it's very much it's very much in the spirit of like Rogue One, where you get, if you haven't seen Rogue One, you're not missing anything. If you've only seen the first 6 movies, you got the story. But if you want a little more detail, yes, check out Rogue One, and you can find out how the rebels got the plans that they got to Leia,
Oh, and check out the radio. One other thing I want to mention about the radio series. Check out the radio series because I mentioned how Biggs said he had gone to the Imperial Academy, and Lucas always talking about going to the Imperial Academy. This is going to be a problem because then they're going to have to working for the Empire against the rebellion. But what you find out from Biggs is a lot of the people, once they learn everything they need to from the Academy, jump ship and go over to the rebellion side. That was happening,
and it was always assumed that that's what Han did too. That he was. He was one of those TIE fighter pilots in the black uniform, that you see in all the movies, and he and in fact, if you've ever played the game TIE Fighter, the old LucasArts game, it's very much it gives you that feeling of what it's like to be a TIE fighter pilot. So you figure that Han was probably just like that, and he was given a mission where he had to something Wookiees being used as slaves. He doesn't dig that. He turns on the Imperials, helps the Wookiees escape, and
Interesting. Were you big into those old Star Wars PC games?
I was. I had not all of them, not the console ones, but
but the ones on computer.
Yeah, X-Wing, TIE Fighter, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Let's save this because even though it's May, we'll still be in May next week, right? We'll round out. Maybe we'll do the old Star Wars. I'll do console games. You can do PC games.
You got it.
That might be interesting. The old ones. Yeah. Okay.